What's going on, everybody? This is the Filsinger Games Character Spotlight with Mike and Brock.
I'm Mike.
And I'm Brock, and we're going to continue through Invasion 2088 with the new tag team of the AniMen of Andromeda, Battering Ram and the Incredible Badger.
Yeah. And our topic of the week is how do you go about creating your own storylines?
Okay, good stuff. Got a lot to talk about. So what's new with you?
Well, last week we talked about watching the Book of Boba Fett.
Mm-hmm.
So I've just binged 2 shows this week.
Okay.
On the last week and a bit. I watched Reacher.
All right. Does that take place in Pittsburgh like the movie did?
No, it takes place in the Midwest.
Okay.
I really can't remember the state. You guys got so many of them. You got like 50.
Mm-hmm. Most of them aren't very cool though.
And but it was cool because the guy who plays Reacher, I'm trying to remember his name, Richardson or Rickerson. He played Aquaman in Smallville, and
he's also Raphael.
He plays Hawk in Teen Titans.
Mm-hmm.
But he's a legit 6'5" and 230 pounds. So he's how Reacher's supposed to be.
Right, not Tom Cruise.
Not the 5 foot 720 pound Tom Cruise.
Yep, good old Tom
Cruise. And then the other show I watched, and my wife surprisingly really got into it, was Peacemaker.
Oh yeah, I still haven't checked that out. I didn't renew I had a gift of HBO Max for a year from a friend, and I didn't renew it afterwards because I just ran out of stuff to watch. But I think I'm gonna have to get that back to check that show out.
It's so funny.
Okay, I've heard good things.
Yes, Cena plays that guy perfect.
Okay, it wasn't very long either. It was what, 6 episodes?
9.
Okay, that's doable. I could do that. Yeah.
And I liked it because I was starting to look forward to it every week. Like Thursday, oh, comes a new episode.
Yeah, I could get it for a month and watch it in a couple weeks. Then I might do that. I'll probably do that.
You can do it over a weekend.
Yeah. We have Blippi on our TV 24/7, or Encanto.
I don't know what either one of those are.
Yeah, that's because you don't have a 3-year-old.
No, when my daughter was 3, it was the Wiggles.
Well, I don't know what's worse, Blippi or the Wiggles. Encanto is a good movie, but I've seen it 38 times.
Oh, that okay. Encanto, yeah, I saw it once.
Mm-hmm. I enjoy it.
It was actually pretty decent.
Mm-hmm.
For Disney, Pixar, something.
Mm-hmm. I put a joke on the Filsinger Games boards for Milton. He was talking about how he wished Larry Zabisco would do a promo without mentioning Bruno. I just said on there, we don't talk about Bruno, and he goes, "Why?" And I didn't answer. So I apologize, Milton. That's an Encanto reference. If nobody points it out between now or way back, whenever you posted it, when this video drops. So, and I know you watched this. So.
I saw that and it didn't click in. I'd only seen it once.
Yeah. I just said, we don't talk about Bruno.
That's actually funny.
And he asked me, and I just let it go. And then somebody else chimed in. It's like, yeah, are you referencing that other? And I still haven't answered. Like, somebody with kids is going to pick up on it.
I remember the Wiggles. They were putting on a free show because nobody knew who they were.
Mm-hmm. Then they blew up.
Yeah, this is one of those things where I have a habit of running into famous people.
Mm-hmm.
No matter where we go, I'll just, the wife makes fun of it. Like, we were in Vegas and she sees me talking to some guy for like 5 minutes while she's, waiting in line and looking at this gigantic aquarium. And she's like, "Who are you just talking to?" I'm like, Joey Fatone from NSYNC. She's like, "Why were you talking to him and how?" And I'm like, he come up and asked me the time. I'm like, "Aren't you Joey Fatone?" I'm like, "Yeah." And we're like, "You don't have a watch
or a phone?"
And he was just in a rush between because he had just was doing stuff for
Family Feud.
Price is Right. Oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah, Price is Right, and he was just in between, coming down from his hotel to grab something to eat,
Hmm.
and it's just forgot it in the hotel room, and we were just chatting for a minute, and he's like, "Oh, where are you from? Canada, blah blah blah."
That's great.
But with the Wiggles, I remember they were putting on a free show at this place called the Children's Only Museum in Toronto,
Hmm.
and so uh, Sue and Megan were off. They're waiting to don't want to lose their seats. So I run across the street to McDonald's because the Children's Only Museum doesn't have a cafeteria because people are only there for like an hour or two.
Hmm.
But now that the place is filling up because you word got out that the Wiggles are putting on. So normally this place only has 50 people in it, but now there's like 200.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you move your prime seat, you lose it.
Hmm.
So I go across the street to McDonald's and I come out and I see the Wiggles guys walking down the street. I'm like, hey, Anthony, Murray, Captain Feathersword. Like this is back when I had hair, so I all my hair's down. I still had a goatee, and they immediately freeze, and then they do one of these. Hey,
Yeah. You gotta love that kids
just
programming.
just weirded out how this big guy, big long-haired guy,
I have
goes there
kids.
and he's yelling at them. Hey guys, it's Murray.
Well,
Jeff,
you're not our target audience.
wake up, Jeff.
That's great. We took the kids to see Blippi live, Blippi the musical, and Bennett loved it. Like I have never seen that kid so happy in his entire life. Like he was just so excited. Like from the moment we got to our seats, because they were playing the music in the background, he's just standing there clapping and going, "Yay!" And then all through the intermission, he did the same thing. He was just loving every second of it.
I took my daughter to go see Blues Clues.
Mm-hmm.
Blues Clues, and that was another guy, Jeff. Yeah, Jeff Blues, and Big Comfy Couch. You
Mm-hmm.
know that one?
Yep.
The Big Comfy Couch, and then I took my godsons to go see Bob the Builder.
That'd be a fun show.
So yeah, I've seen a lot of kids shows live.
Yeah. I didn't mind the Blippi show. Like they kept it moving pretty. Like, it was only an hour long, but then they had the 20-minute intermission in the middle of it. I'm like, you do realize that your target audience are toddlers, right? And the girl next to me during the intermission lost her mind. She was probably 6 months or so older than my son, who's a year and a half, and she just stood up next to me and screamed in my face. She's like, ah! And her mother goes, "I'm so sorry." I'm like, "Look, rules could very easily be reversed. It's cool." Like, that's what they do.
Yep.
So it was fun. We had a good time.
Oh, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's dig into our tag team.
Yes.
I suppose we could talk to them about them as a single. See, I always liked his porn stash. He looked awesome.
Yeah, Badger's a cool looking dude. My card's pretty beat up now that I'm looking at it here on screen.
I when these guys came in, I loved them. These
Me
guys
too.
were freaking awesome. In the Fed, Rob and myself shared. These guys won his tag team titles a few times. With
They
me,
are.
they didn't. They didn't win it once.
They did well for me. I pushed them to the moon though because my name actually means badger. The Old English translation of Brock means badger. My IWA character was Badger. Totally different. He was an MMA guy that wore a mask and just did submission holds. So totally different character. But I was kind of annoyed that there was another Badger right off the bat because I was going to make a bootleg of my Badger. And then I found out that this Badger existed. But then I fell in love with the character once I started using them because they're just such a fun tag team. Dominated. Just tough. And they have to be mentioned too in history for having the first tag finisher.
Yep.
That was a brand new concept whenever they came out.
And they were both solid. Like if we talk about Badger first here, he did a lot for me. He captured my TV title once, my Intergalactian once, my tag team, my IG tag twice, War Games tag once, and GWF tag twice. Now, the IG tag was only with Ram once. As a tag team, I couldn't get these guys to win the big one.
Really?
Yeah, I couldn't. They could with Rob. It's funny. We had the same freaking Fed.
Yeah.
Same guys dominated. I bring them to my Fed, and I'm all pumped. I'm like, I expect them to, to destroy the gladiators and all this. No, no. IG tag, best they could do.
Were the rules different at the time for tag finishes? Like if you rolled it in a singles match, did you always have to roll up a level of offense?
Oh no.
You just rolled again, or
that was the rule? I still did Burrow. You hit Burrow Blast or the I can't remember what their tag.
Andromeda drop.
Andromeda drop. Burrow Blast. No, if in the singles, I would just re-roll the. If it was the 6, I would just re-roll it because it's not fair.
Yeah, we played it. If you rolled the 6, you just got the 5 automatically.
Oh, okay.
Which is kind of cheating because that's like now a 1 in 3 shot of hitting your finisher.
Yeah.
But I think there was some discussion at Galacticon, the 2020 virtual one, where they were saying that rule should be changed. If you roll a tag move, you should have to roll up to a previous level of offense. And it was a complete mixed reaction from everybody that was talking about it.
No, I wouldn't do that, and I'd never do that. Like that's punishing a tag guy.
Mm-hmm.
It's because you roll a 6, just re-roll it. It doesn't take a whole lot.
Yeah. I mean, I see both sides of it. Like I would always play it that way, that you would just re-roll on the same level, but that also gives them another shot to hit a big move. But that's
like,
not
for me, Badger, he fought Massacre for 6 years.
Oh, really?
I loved that feud, the Gladiators versus AniMen. It was the greatest feud going for me. So it was the AniMen versus. Oh, I do not like that.
You don't like the fur on his face?
No, that is ridiculous.
His Warner art doesn't look like that. I'll have to find that. I don't have it nearby, or I'd show it to you. But
and it was the Gladiators and versus Bounty Hunter, because I just seem to pair I think a lot of people paired the Bounty Hunter with the Gladiators because they were always feuding the AniMen. So
it fit. I did that. It just seemed to fit.
And Badger did feud Ram for a couple of years because Ram, did turn on them.
Mm-hmm.
But I wrote all the stuff. Now, if you can't see this, this is all the stuff Badger did for year-end awards.
Oh, wow.
He did so much. This guy was he won Wrestler of the Year for me twice. Once as a tag team, because I didn't, I don't have tag team of the year. I just have,
Yeah.
But in 2091, he held the Intergalactian and the GWF TV title. So he was one of the few guys to hold, and I don't usually allow it. It just stuff happened, and so he held 2 singles titles at the same time. And he's won so many, feud of the year. He was, I think against the Gladiators, he won it like 4 or 5 times.
Mm-hmm.
The Gladiators versus AniMen feud was just, I loved it.
It was such a fun feud to play.
And I had to win my Rookie of the Year in '88.
Wow. So a lot of guys came out in '88.
Yeah. No, they won it as a tag team.
Okay. Still a lot of Spike, Bishop Hell, Splatter.
Yep.
So many like marquee characters came out that year.
Yeah, when he teamed up with Badger, when he teamed up with Iron Man as Beast of Burden, that team clicked for me.
Yeah. Iron Man deserved a better run.
you know, he won the GWF tag title twice and the Intergalaxian once with Iron Man.
Cool.
And their Intergalaxian runs, like he held onto the title 2 times for 25 defenses.
Wow.
So roughly, 12 to 13 times a defense.
Mm-hmm. That's impressive. You have those long title reigns.
I do. But
You don't do any kind of Champions Advantage role either, do you?
I do.
Okay.
The champions get their pin decreased by 1.
Okay.
That's my house rule for that.
Okay.
But yeah, how did Badger do for you?
Very well.
Did they feud Dreadnought and Comrade Terror?
No, they wouldn't be able to hang with those guys, but surprisingly, they did not face those guys. The thing is, by the time I got this set, I had been smartened up by Mr. Steve Minskoff. So I was doing all that with the starter set and a bunch of random special edition cards. But so yeah, that Galacticon, I bought everything up to where everything was, and I think it was 2107 came out that year. I think that was where we were, because your card was with 2108.
Yeah.
So I remember you got your card came out that following year for my second Galacticon. But I got everything up until then. Got home and I'm flipping through the cards on the way home. My dad's driving, and I stopped on these guys right away. Like, I can't wait to use these guys. First, I was annoyed that his name was Badger, and then I'm looking at the cards like, these guys are great. So I thought my very clever IWA character, play-by-mail character of the Badger, was the most original idea in the world.
Yeah, but this guy was he's an incredible Badger. He's not just
he's not the Badger. He's the incredible Badger. And he's an actual Badger. Makes a little bit of a difference.
And his stats were great, like -4, which is something only a couple guys had.
Yeah, and a +1 power to go with it isn't anything to really get upset about.
And he had the 2 pin.
Mm-hmm.
He had no C's. He was all A's and B's.
3 A's and a B.
Yeah.
His B's on Death Jump, which is surprising since he's the agility guy.
So he did so well. I'm trying to remember how many he didn't have 4 downs, did he? Or 3 downs and a pin?
He has 2.
Yeah.
Both of them have a tag.
He couldn't keep you down though.
Yeah, he has a punch and face 2 on number 1.
I think, if I were to change anything on him, that would become a down.
Yeah, just move everything up 1. Yeah, that's the only thing I really see that would need changed. His defense is solid. Maybe another comeback on level 2. He only has 1, but it's a 2.
Yeah. Could
So
give
it's
him
not
Commander Sam defense.
Yeah, because he's got 4 hurts a days and a comeback 2. 2 tags. 2 tags on every level of defense, which is nice. Yeah, he's solid. He is a solid character. Yeah.
He's a Hall of Famer for me.
Mm-hmm.
I had him listed at 6'2", 220 pounds.
Let me see what the official listing is here. 6'1.5", 243 pounds.
See, I don't know where everybody makes these guys.
And there's nobody under 220 pounds in those first 2 sets. Maybe the women. I don't know.
When you're -4 power, I don't picture you 240, 250 pounds. I mean, -4. Yeah, -4 ability.
Yeah. But yeah, I think I'm going to agree with you on that. Change the level 3 defense, because there's no really other glaring things like, oh, this is horrible. This is really a game breaker. But let him stay on level 3.
Yeah. He was just so good.
Mm-hmm. And that's a great piece of art, by the way.
Yeah.
It's one of my all-time favorites. He just looks like a badass.
Yeah. I really enjoyed when they came out. Oh, I remember getting that set in the mail. You know, Rob got it, saved it for me, so you know we opened it together, and we're just like, you know, this first set, we're like, oh, these guys. Yeah. Instantly, Rob's like, yeah, you know, they're coming in, and you know, I can't remember who he had faced, but it was just like, you know, throwing a team at him. I think it was like Vanity and Creeper or something like that, just to test out, you know,
Yeah.
new tag partner, the Creeper.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and they go up against, you know, these guys, and these guys, you know, you got 2 finishers, and one's a +3. That was unheard of back then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Burrow Blast, Andromeda drop, Burrow Blast, Andromeda drop. It's over.
Yep. Definitely game changer, these two as a team.
Yeah. I just wish I could have got them to click. And it's weird because in one promotion they clicked, mine, no.
It's funny. That's how it goes, though. It's all the dice. The dice determine what happens.
Yep.
Which is what's cool. That's one of my favorite things about this game is statistically every wrestler can beat any other wrestler if you roll the dice, if the dice go their way.
Yep.
There's no way that it's impossible for anyone to not win. You know, it's always possible. I said that in the most weird way.
And I switch over now to Battering Ram.
Mm-hmm.
Battering Ram was, I think, -3 power, -1 agility.
Yes, sir.
So he was one of the few guys. It was like him, Star Warrior, Wolf, and Thanos to have double negatives in all their categories.
Yeah. Now it's everybody.
Yeah. Nobody knows what a plus is anymore.
Yeah, there he is. The Battering Ram. Also a pretty solid card.
Yeah. It's funny for him, you know, he captured my IG singles. He captured the tags with Badger and the War Games tag with Badger. He captured the War Games singles title twice, though.
Wow.
He was up in that. And the weird part is he captured my CPC Gauntlet title. And but he captured my GWF heavyweight title once in a storyline. He had fought Wolf was supposed to go up against Thanos for the GWF heavyweight title. And Bounty Hunter ambushed Wolf, you know, injured him in one of their matches. And so Wolf couldn't compete for the title shot in the next card because I always write my cards out. You know, I have a whole list of cards. So if somebody gets hurt, I know, and you know, I can swap things around. And I'm like, Amazonia is, what is that monstrosity in the orange?
That's Bendis' drawing of him.
Oh, okay.
The card we're talking about, the link is broken to his drawing.
Oh, okay. And so I had Amazonia. It's like, hey, if, you know, Battering Ram should get the shot. You know, you should allow me to fill in. So I'm like, yeah. So Battering Ram filled in against Thanos for the heavyweight title, and he beat Thanos for the heavyweight title.
I can believe it. He's no joke.
And he held on to it, I think, for maybe 2 cards, 3 cards, because he wasn't in that fight. You know, that's, you know, Mega Destroyer Spike and, you know, Cosmic Big Bang Star Warrior, Matador, and I think he lost the heavyweight title to Pulsar Prime.
Wow. Pulsar Prime's no joke either, though.
No. But he captured the big. He's one of my few fluke champions.
I love when that happens, though.
He's still fighting to this day. In 2105, I don't know when he retires, but I haven't retired him yet.
He hangs around a while because he gets a couple updates.
Yeah.
He hung around till 2104.
Oh, okay, so I'll probably retire him in 2106. That's, I think, what I was looking at.
His last card was in 2103.
I have him sitting here at 6'5" and 295.
He's pretty short. He's listed at 6'1", 280 pounds.
Yeah. It's weird because, you know, I made all my own stats because back then we didn't have stats.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another thing too, you know, guys would make the, you know, what we would always talk about, oh, how do you have this guy? How do you have this guy? Like in the game, Brute's like 6'10". I never had Brute 6'10".
Yeah, he's huge.
I think I had Brute 6'7". Massive was like 6 foot. You know, Massive was the big guy in the Fed. I didn't have anybody bigger than Massive.
Right. How tall? I don't know. I just have to look those guys
Massive
up.
was 6'9", I think, or 6'9.5" or something like that, and Brute was 6'10".
Crazy. If the guy's name is Massive, he should be the biggest guy.
Yep. Not his name is not somewhat massive. It's massive.
The second most massive. But yeah, you're right on both of those heights.
Yeah, it just bothered me when I saw that. I'm like, what? No. I don't agree with so many of these heights and weights that are put on.
Yeah. I don't even know if it was thought about until much later on, whenever they introduced the cruiserweight title, which is pretty far in the timeline, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that was a flash in the pan, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now the guys are starting to trend smaller. But those early guys. Yeah.
You know, we even had a cruiserweight chart, and I don't think anybody uses that anymore.
Yeah. I don't even know if I have it anymore. I don't know if I ever used it. I think they reprinted it in the Chikara starter set, I think. The cruiserweight out of the ring chart, maybe. I'm sure it'll pop up in a ringside companion, as they've already promised to make more of those.
Yeah, the only chart I want is the tag team chart.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like I said, mine went missing years ago.
Yeah.
At a Galacticon.
Yeah, that there's so many charts. We'll talk about it another time. I don't want to go off topic, but there's so many like goofy charts I'd like to see made. Just all those different tropes that they do all the time in wrestling.
I'll make that for one of our topics.
There we go. Charts we want to see made. I thought about it. Yeah, well, but oh yeah. So what would we do to Battering Ram? Change his height.
Damn it, he should be taller.
He doesn't look very tall.
If you gave him a third down on level 2,
he's got a choice F now, though. That's a good chance at knocking somebody down.
Yeah, but I'm saying if it was automatic,
like
if he's facing Brute, which he did,
yeah,
that choice F is negated.
True. I hate to do the same thing we did on the last guy, but I think I would just give him another level 3 move on number 1 on level 3 offense.
Oh, so you can keep guys down?
He's got the double out of the ring, which is cool. Didn't see that a lot then.
But see, in a tag team, you want somebody to be able to put them down. Because when he puts them down, he doesn't stay on level 3. He tags in the Badger.
Right. Yeah, I think I'd change that body slam to a level 3. Just to let him stay down. Like you said, the tag in Badger for the Andromeda drop.
The number 4 spot would be the down. You move the choice F, change that to like a C on, put it on number 3 or whatever it is.
Weaken him a little bit.
Well, weaken his choice, but because he could, that.
Yeah, the trade-off
would be a down.
Right, the trade-off will be the level 3.
Yeah,
guaranteed.
So that's what I do to them.
Yeah, I mean there's not. I mean that's just nitpicking too with these guys because they're already pretty good. I think.
Yeah, these guys were at 100% top tag team, it's funny because Ram, hopefully he'll make it. I don't know if he'll make my Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm. He has Kraken head too.
He's got Pilar's cysts all over his head. Like, there's a good chance he'll just sneak into my Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm. What's your criteria?
So what I do is you have to have 225 points.
Okay.
Every win is a point,
Mm-hmm.
and every title is assigned a point.
Okay.
Every feud is worth like every feud won is worth 4 points. A draw is worth 2 points, I think.
Okay. Can you
So
lose points?
Pardon?
Can you lose points?
No.
Okay.
And then if you headline main events or if you win year-end awards, each one of those is like 5 points.
Okay.
So that's when I said I write stuff down on the cards. And so at the end of your career, I just add everything up. And if you make the 225 points, you're in the Hall.
Cool. He'll get there.
And tag teams are half that. So tag teams are 125. So he might make it in as a tag team, but I doubt it. Like Beast of Burden will have made it in.
Yeah, because they didn't tag very long.
Beast of Burden? No, but for me, they kicked ass.
Yeah.
And then for title defenses, you also get 1 point for every title defense you have.
Okay, in addition to the win.
Yeah. So his title range, is probably equals out to about an extra 30 points.
Okay.
Because that's one thing about Hall of Fames. I don't want to make it where everybody gets in.
Right.
Like the WWF Hall of Fame is an absolute joke. Like Coco Beware is in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Yep. Is Honky Tonk Man in yet?
I do not know who's in the WWF Hall of Fame.
Okay.
I do not pay attention to it.
I think he did finally get in because that was like the big glaring omission to me. Like, where's Honky Tonk Man? He's the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time.
13-month title reign.
Yeah. But
Nobody won it. The
nope. I thought going back to I was hoping they'd make him get at least close to that. But did they have him lose it like after like 110 days or something like that?
Yeah, like 10 weeks or 15 weeks or something like that.
Yeah. Like you should at least let it go on for a while.
But that was just funny.
The honkometer. Did he call it the incredibly racist honkometer too? I think he did call it that. That's Santino Marella, by the way, in case anybody's not following.
So if we get into our topic of making your own storylines, how do you go about creating your own storylines?
I kind of hope that they happen organically. Like if somebody has a good match, because I do a lot of random matches just to try and see what happens. And if somebody has a good match that kind of means something, and I kind of I let it play out organically. Like hopefully from there, like it spirals into something else and they start trading wins and then maybe a title gets put into the picture. But for me, I kind of just let it happen on its own and then roll with it.
Yeah, I do it completely different. I storyboard my entire year. So I roughly know what's going to happen year to year. It's all marked out. And then I just I weave my stories to get to point A to point B.
Okay.
But now when I created my my system of the 3 promotions and guys move up and down.
Yeah, that's an automatic storyline right there.
Yeah, my storyline changes because now I can write everything out from point A to point B, but then I'm like, point B is going to be messed up. And I like that because now it's forcing me to think on my feet.
That happened to me on stream. I had a guy who hadn't lost this year, and I had him positioned to be my #1 contender. So I actually had him in the champion, kind of glance at each other as they're like the champion was out for an interview, then he's coming out for his match, and they just kind of pass each other, make them exchange a look. And then the guy who I was planning on booking as the title contender this month gets beaten 3 moves. So I'm like, well, I don't really see him earning a title shot now after that. So I gave him, then I put him against another guy the following week, like, oh, it was a fluke. He's not going to lose again. Lost again, and like maybe 5 moves this time. I'm like, oh, I guess I got to think of something new.
You could keep building that as a storyline, though.
Mm-hmm.
He's just now getting frustrated.
Yeah.
You could have him throw temper tantrums in the ring afterwards.
Yes, I threw a fall guy at him, an enhancement guy, just to beat him, and then he beat him, and then he started bragging again. And, so it's just, but we'll see if he gets another legitimate opponent, how he does. But I took him out of the title picture.
It's funny because when I do my story arcs, they're year-long story arcs.
Mm-hmm.
And it's rare that I'll cycle off a storyline, or I'll bring in somebody like Mandrill. And I brought in Mandrill the one time, and I try not to reuse the same storylines over and over again.
Yeah.
So with Mandrill the one time, to introduce him, Wolf was my Intergalaxian champion. He had just won a match, and I had this guy come out and just destroy Wolf, just beat the tar out of him. And no one knows who it is. Like, who's this guy that trounced Wolf? And so then he, shows up the launch pad, the next card, and he challenges Wolf. He's like, you want me? I just humiliated you in front of all the people. I want a shot at your title. If not, I'm not going to fight you.
Mm-hmm. That's cool.
So Wolf, Wolf's not going to back down from that challenge. Wolf is like, yeah, we're on. And then Mandrill beats Wolf for the title. So Mandrill's first ever match, because usually I have my point system. You gotta work your way up to it. But I'm like, no. I'm going to do something special for Mandrill, because Mandrill was like the key wrestler for that set.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, I'm going to make him come in a big way. So his first match was a title match versus Wolf.
That's awesome.
And he beat Wolf for the title.
See, and that's a trap that I fell into. Like, I was so worried about stats and win-loss records that it got in the way of the story. And that's my advice to people. Like, don't let win-loss records and points and everything get in the way of your story. Like, for your story, it made more sense for Mandrill to come in and be the contender right away. Otherwise, he's just another guy that's working his way up the ladder. And I fell into that trap where it's like, oh, well, this guy's not anywhere near the title picture yet. So it's, I fell into that trap, and then I got bored. I got bored with my Fed, because I'm like, oh, I got to keep putting this guy against guys that he can beat just so he can qualify to fight for the title.
Yeah. That's one thing, I have my point system, it doesn't always allow me to do it, but that's what I like about when I step outside the box. It's new and unusual, and I don't do it often.
Right. But if it makes sense with the story, with what you're trying to do, then definitely like push all that stuff aside. And that's where I need to get comfortable with doing that, because I got set in my ways with this point system that I had, which is a ridiculous point system. We'll have to do a whole breakdown of that someday, where it was impossible to keep track of, even with a spreadsheet. So that's like, it got so stat driven that the story just got pushed aside for everything else. I was more concerned with the points and getting a legit contender.
Yeah.
But that takes the fun out of it sometimes. It has its place for sure, don't get me wrong, but when it gets in the way of telling a good story, that's when you need to like take a step back and like, is this fun anymore, or is it just rolling dice?
Yeah, like I've actually seen storylines happen in wrestling, and I'm like, how can I convert this now to GWF?
Yeah.
And I've done that. And I've also had things like that you don't expect. Like, I had Mad Jester. He comes in, he's he's good, but he went off on like a 16 win streak. No one had guys ramble off 16 straight wins.
Yeah.
Don't do that, because they'll lose by DQ or lose by count out, or
right. You keep
something
the
along the line.
title.
But Matt Jester was 16 straight. He come in, he got a bunch of wins, he got his title shot, and he kept
Mhm.
going. And it was like, when's this guy gonna lose? Like, and I'm
Yeah.
feeding him top notch guys. I think it was Badger that, excuse me, ended his career, ended
Mhm.
his win streak.
Yeah.
But it was just it became like a storyline, just for like, when's this guy gonna lose?
Yeah. And that's when it gets real fun.
Yeah.
Is whenever you have things like that just happen that you don't really expect or you didn't plan for, and then you just got to run with it, because who knows, it could get so cool and like something neat. It's the payoff when he does get beat is going to be so much cooler.
Yeah, like I have my long drawn out storyline, but it's the little side arc stories
Mm-hmm.
that can be fun. Like when I had Tarak and Pulsar win my IG tag titles.
Mm-hmm.
Like, in a way, it's embarrassing that these guys are the tag champs. Imagine the Ding Dongs capturing the NWA tag titles,
Right.
the US tag titles.
Uh-huh.
But it happened, and then they, for them to keep losing, like they defended the titles 5 times and lost all 5 matches.
Yeah.
Now you see that now in nowadays WWF booking. Oh, this guy's a champ, but we're still going to have him lose to all these.
Yeah.
Guys.
His title's just never on the line.
And
when was the last time Nakamura defended the Intercontinental title?
I don't
know. He probably will have lost it by the time this episode drops. His first defense.
It was just funny.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, oh, it's count out loss, count out loss, count out loss. But it was funny because I'm having them, and all that's running through my head is Mulkamania. The fans are so behind these guys now. Like they became for a year,
mm-hmm.
and just a brief part of the year, they were the most popular tag team in my promotion.
Yeah,
they shouldn't be winning, and they're
mm-hmm.
not winning, but they're still defending their titles, and they're giving it all, and they're
that's how it goes. When the unexpected happens, that's when it's most fun.
Yeah,
it can be frustrating as hell sometimes, but at the end of the day, it's the story you tell with that. Like if nobody ever beat Thantos, you remember the guys who beat Thantos because they're not supposed to beat them.
Yeah, I don't think Thantos ever suffered any losses like that for me.
Mm-hmm.
But even the storyline I did when I retired Thantos, I talked about it a while ago. Thantos
mm-hmm.
comes out, Tex Remington as a champion. Thantos is like, hey, I will put my career on the line for a title shot against you.
Mm-hmm.
Who wouldn't want to retire Thantos?
Right.
And so yeah, Tex took the chance.
Mm-hmm.
Thantos not even ranked anywhere in the title picture.
But he's Thantos.
Yeah.
That'd be like if, Ric Flair 10 years ago wanted I get another shot at the title. You're gonna give it to it because it's Ric Flair.
And you can be the guy retiring him.
Mm-hmm.
And so that became one of my favorite storylines I've ever done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, stuff like that's so much fun. Like I feel like I'm in a rut right now with stories, so I'm just trying to throw a bunch of stuff at the wall to see what sticks. Just because it starts to feel like you're just rolling matches after a while.
That's why I like how I storyboard the storylines,
mm-hmm.
but then fill it in with smaller stories.
Yeah. See, I would only go to the next super card, like at the end of the month. Like I'd have my plan on where I want to get to for that. But maybe I need to take some advice from you and try and get that Mania to Mania story arc.
Yeah.
Because it would make things easier and more interesting.
I'll also, I look at when people post their Fed results and their, and their ideas and their stories. I read
mm-hmm.
those because I might be able to steal some from some of that. Wrestling's all about stealing.
Because everything's been done.
Yeah.
There's only so much you can do, unless you want to get completely
rare
ridiculous.
That you come out it's rare that you come up with an original storyline.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
You know,
for sure.
I've for my real pro wrestling life, I know I've come up with a couple originals.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember Charlie Cox. I was talking to him about just, he was asking me storylines. And I'm telling him, yeah, I've come up and I designed these stories. And he's like, oh my God, these are awesome. He goes, can I use them? And so he got a notepad and he's like, and I'm telling him what I do with these storylines and arcs I created.
Uh-huh.
Because I did booking in, different parts and different promotions.
Yeah.
Yeah, I said, these fit in, you want to push different guys, this is the way to go. And,
Mm-hmm. Now it just seems like wrestling just wants to do bad comedy.
Yeah. there's
Mainstream wrestling, that is.
I use my talk show a lot to push to further storylines.
Yeah.
Like I usually don't just throw a random guy in there.
Mm-hmm.
If you're on the talk show, you're going to be there for a reason.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, here's my talk show this week on the launch pad. Cycle Hog.
Yeah. Just talking about his bike.
Like, no, if you're going to be on there, you're going to be on for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't always roll the back.
Yeah.
I know what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's how I further my storyline. I rarely will ever use the back of the card.
Mm-hmm. Because
I know how I'm going to further my storyline. So, and I write out what's happening on just so I can skip back. What happened on that? Okay. Oh yeah. So that's how I, will further a storyline.
That's cool. I wish the game had more of those kind of mechanics that you can roll on, like talk show charts, like, backstage segment of some kind, like just hanging out in the locker room, things like that. I really think there'd be, and I think there's a need for those kind of things.
Well, yeah, I think every talk show has a roll on the back chart.
Yeah, but I'm talking like just
more detailed.
Well, not only like an interview segment. It's just like guys talking in the back. Like somebody comes in, interrupts them, like less scripted feeling.
Yeah,
the guy getting ready. But I guess that doesn't really happen on televised wrestling. But
no.
It's usually an interview getting interrupted.
Yeah, well, then that's what they do. They they'll put an interview because nobody has a talk show anymore.
No.
The Miz had a talk show and Jericho had a talk show.
Yeah,
they don't last long. They're not Piper's Pit,
right?
Not the Smith Pit and stuff like that. With the barber shop where they have their own sets.
Yeah, little sets and stuff, and those are fun.
It's a ring, 2 chairs.
Everybody's has been that since like 1995.
So a lot of promotions will use it, and I use my talk shows for that reason, to further storylines. Sometimes they something will happen, and I'm like, ooh, that's that's now being put into a talk show. Like somebody will upset somebody for a title. Oh, now they're going to be on, and now they're the person they're feuding is now like, hey, now I want a title shot.
Yeah, it does. It's a good setup tool for sure.
Yep.
Even if you randomize it.
Yeah, the game gives you tools. It's how well you use them.
For sure.
Are you going to be Homer Simpson building a spice rack, or are you going to be Bob Vila? How are you going to build your
right
promotion?
Especially the new ringside companion, and then they're already talking about volume 2.
Yeah, volume 1. Yeah, I know it's a lot of matches. I'm not big on all kinds of specialty matches, so I don't think I'll grab that one.
Hope already wrote on the cover of mine, but that's all right. It's just a cover.
Yeah, I'm unsure what's in all that ringside companion.
It's pretty much every specialty match that they've ever done.
Yeah.
In Legends and Champions of the Galaxy. And if it's a Legends match that's the same as a Champions match, just say C Steel Cage match, C Cosmic Cage match. They don't print them in there twice. So It's nice. It's probably about, I'd say 75 matches probably.
Yeah, that's too many for me.
Yeah. Some interesting stuff in there. There's a lot of new stuff. I think it's worth checking.
Yeah, I imagine, but I think I have 25 matches I use currently right now.
Yeah, I want to start introducing some more just because I seem to use the same ones over and over again.
Yeah.
So I want to start changing it up. Maybe try out some of these other ones. They simplified the wording, which was nice. Like it's now universal wording, like the wrestler on offense instead of like the opponent or whoever. You know what I mean? It's cleaned up in that way, which is nice. So there's no guessing. It's which guy they're referring to.
Yeah. But yeah, that's how I go about creating all my storylines and story arcs. Is I do the long one, and then I'll fill in the blanks with smaller ones.
I'm gonna try and do that, like for like the next 6 months or so on my stream stuff. But the problem is I'm playing so slow. I'm playing in real time. Like this is a week in this fed.
Yeah.
Here's the Friday night show, the Saturday night show. We're gonna broadcast it on Sunday, just to be more confusing. But yeah, I'm gonna try and do that because then it gives me time for like when I get a curveball, I have a whole week to then figure out how I'm gonna fix it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna try it.
I have it. My 2106. I have all my 2106 ideas. They're there. They're written out because I don't know who's going up or down.
Right.
But if it doesn't happen, this is happening.
Mm-hmm.
And then these are the guys that are coming in. And there are some guys you just have ideas for, like that I didn't expect. Like you gave me an idea when you talked about you had a Brimstonian become a member of the Masked Evangelists group.
Yeah, Soulfire.
Yeah. And so I have my God Squad. Count Necros just got sent down. I'm like, I'm going to have a vampire become.
He's going to convert.
Yeah, and I'm thinking that if he doesn't get moved up, he's gonna convert to them.
It's great.
and his tag partner Incubus is going to be like, what's going on?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's cool. I like that already.
And so, but it was something, I just got an idea. I'm like, yeah, you gave me the idea, just in passing.
Mm-hmm.
It just stuck with me, and I'm like, that's now gonna work.
Yep, that's how it goes. That's why I look at other people's stuff all the time, because I'm trying to find stuff that I think I can make work.
Yeah, that's what I said. When people post their stuff on the Filsinger Games boards, I usually don't go to the promoter, like the actual Filsinger Games.
Yeah, the pro boards. Mm-hmm.
The pro boards. I don't go to that too often.
Yeah, it can be overwhelming.
It is, and I get lost. I'm not a computer guy.
Mm-hmm.
So I go and I click, and then you got to go back so many things. And so I like the pro board. I'll just the Filsinger Games page.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's very active too.
Oh yeah, there's probably, I'd say 10 plus posts a day.
Mm-hmm.
Easy.
Mm-hmm.
People post their legend stuff. People post, and I'll read them all, because I may not, somebody may be feuding, Luthez versus Bruiser Brody.
Yeah.
But I'm reading how because some guys will just post match results, but some people will post their story arcs.
Mm-hmm.
And
so that's what get to that.
I read those story arcs, and I'm like, that story arc might work over here.
Right.
One of my feds.
Because it is easy to get burnt out and run out of stuff, and then just looking at others. That's what I do. I always would just go out to the boards and start checking out other people's stuff, and it would re-spark my creativity to try and I got something in my eye. Sorry. To try and figure out something new or just borrow an idea and twist it around. And I like some of the unique tournaments and stuff that people come up with.
Yep. Yeah, I started my women's fed for the first time. So I got 16 women wrestlers, and I'm like, I need an idea for some ideas for super cards.
Mm-hmm.
And so I put it out there. I'm like, hey, how about you guys name my cards?
Yeah.
And give my ideas.
You got like 30 responses.
Yeah, and a lot of people are like, shimmer this and but I'm like, I'm not using real life wrestlers. I'm using GWF wrestlers. So I used, let's see if I get my giant head here. Chris Sinclair gave me the idea for the I call it ring sirens.
Okay.
And
Good
so,
name.
so it's going to be the same thing. I do 15 cards, and after every 5 cards, I'll do a little super card.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's going to be Ring Sirens 1, Ring Sirens 2, and then the year end, the big year end card. It's going to be my Queen's Cup.
Okay, I like
and
that.
I've already made the idea. It's going to be a 16-person tournament. Now I only got 16 people in the Fed, so it works out good.
Mm-hmm.
But the following year, I'm going to introduce 6 more people. And what's going to happen is, because I go by points, so the top 8 wrestlers and the bottom 8 wrestlers are going to face off.
Okay, like a playoff to get in.
So yeah, one will face 16, 2 will face 15, and so if there's going to be an upset, or somebody just might have a bad streak.
Yeah, you'll get at least a couple upsets there.
Yeah, so and that's what I'm looking forward to. So the setup the first year, Queen's Cup, that's going to be it'll just be straightforward. The second year is where some people are going to get eliminated.
Mm-hmm.
Point wise, Amazonia could might have, like right now, Thrash couldn't buy a win if her life depended on it for me right now.
Yeah.
If I do this top and bottom, she might be somewhere in the middle and miss the entire tournament.
Yeah. Yeah, it happens.
Because she's not in the top, she's not in the middle, or the bottom, she's going to be stuck in that middle.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to force the guys to, you want wins, you get up there, because even if you're in the bottom, you're probably going to be out in round 1 if you're facing the number 1 person.
Yeah. But there's always a chance.
But like I said, now that's a 2-year story arc I got worked out already.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm, when I build my storylines, sometimes they're literally years in advance.
Yeah.
And I build towards them.
I like it.
But with that, we should probably wrap up.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in, listening, and watching here on YouTube. Please click that like button if you enjoyed it. And if you're not yet subscribing, click that red subscribe button, which is right here, I think.
Yeah, it's below you.
Right here. It's right here below me. Go ahead and click on that. And check out all our friends in the social media world who are doing Filsinger Games related media. We have the Roll Up podcast, the official Filsinger Games podcast. We have the Legends team's Uncharted Territory, Lee Longpre's Dizzy Dice, and the GWF Fancast from Grant. And on YouTube, Grant also has the GWF Promoter. We have Dave Little's Fed that he posts. We have Under Further Review, and I think that's it for YouTube. And then over on Twitch, we have myself at BrocsterBuilds and Ken West at Sergeant Fragamall. So we have a bunch of other Filsinger Games related media out there. We'd appreciate it if you'd all check those things out, because like I say every week, the more awareness we have to this game, the more the word gets out and the more people who can enjoy it with us.
Yeah, I was going to give a shout out to Kurt Campbell. Kurt started publishing our videos on his own page.
Oh, nice.
And he
Nice.
tagged us in it, and he's tagging his friends in it, going, "Hey, if you like games and wrestling, try watch these 2 guys." So hey,
yeah,
thanks,
we pretend like we know what we're talking about.
Yep.
Yeah, thanks, Kirk. We appreciate that, and we appreciate all the comments on the videos. We've been getting a lot lately, which is pretty cool. It's good to know that people are actually listening to these and enjoying them more so than that.
Yeah.
So thanks, everybody. We appreciate the support. Yeah, we're over 100 views on one of our videos already. So that's something we never expected. So
that's what I say. Sorry to interrupt you. And next week, we got Bishop Hell and Spike.
Ooh. There you go.
Yeah.
2 heavy hitters there.
That's That's the end of the first invasion then.
Those two were the final two with those cards at the 2019 Galacticon Cup,
Huh.
and I won with Spike.
And then
So.
just coincidentally enough, the topic is going to be following the GWF stories.
Okay. So that's when we can make fun of Comrade Terror and Dreadnought again.
Yeah.
Have to make sure we mention that every week. It's our running joke.
Yeah. But yeah, so until then.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody.
Keep rolling them dice, as they say.
Yeah, keep on rolling, rolling, rolling.
Remember, it's up to you, promoter.
It is. It always is. Unless the dice tell you otherwise.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Have a good one.
Good night.